Welcome back to episode 2 of Car Talks with Hups. I have yet to change the name. That is still yet to be decided, but we are potentially going to frisk that up a little bit. I don't know if I'm a big fan, so if y'all got a better idea for the name of these Car Talk episodes, let me know. Drop it down below in the comments. But welcome back, episode 2. For those of you who tuned into the last one, thank you for listening. Thank you for engaging. If you haven't already, make sure y'all head back and take a listen to that episode as we drop some free game. And that's the whole purpose of these Car Talk episodes, is to provide value, drop some game, and honestly just kind of give my opinion on certain topics and whatever, and just kind of help you guys out. I know a lot of us are in our own ruts, in our own ways, and going through life, dealing with this, dealing with that, and I want to be able to provide and help as many individuals as I can. So I take my opportunity when I'm driving to the gym to spit as much game as possible and hopefully motivate someone, lead you in the right direction, answer a question, whatever the case may be. So today's episode is going to be about how getting there is the hardest thing and maintaining it actually becomes easier. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that. Everyone thinks that getting there is the easy part and maintaining it is the hard part. And I solely disagree. And when I say it, I'm solely talking about your dream body, your dream physique. Whether you are trying to lose a bunch of weight, burn a bunch of fat, build a bunch of muscle, build that beach body, whatever the case may be, getting there is always the hardest part, and maintaining it, in my opinion, actually becomes the easy part. And I'm going to explain just why in a second. So getting there is going to require you to do the most. It's going to require you to be the most disciplined. It's going to require the most sacrifice. It's going to require the most uncomfortability, because you are now learning the new things that you need to be doing in order to achieve said goal. And just overall, you're going to have to work the hardest. You are basically starting off at the worst point. To some, maybe not, but for the most part, at the worst point. So you're gonna have to give the most effort. And no, that doesn't mean when you achieve said goal that you can just let off the gas pedal. That's not what I'm saying, and we will go over that more in a second. But where I'm getting at with all of this is getting there, you have to work the hardest. You have to be the most disciplined. You have to be consistent. You have to be doing all the things that you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis. You borderline, I don't want to say that you have to be perfect, but you have to be perfect inside of not being perfect. And what I mean by that is, no one's telling you that you have to follow this exact diet plan to a T and be super strict with it. No one's saying that you have to do these workouts or this amount of cardio or that exact cardio form, whatever the case may be there. What I am saying is you need to be finding ways to win consistently. If you can't make it to the gym, you're going for a run instead. If you forget your meal preps at home, when you decide to go and eat out somewhere, that you are picking the healthiest option and not picking based off by what you feel. When you are jammed for time and you don't have enough time to complete your cardio, that you're not just chalking it up and waving the white flag, and you are prioritizing your steps, your daily movement. You're finding a different way to get that cardio in. This is what it means to find ways to win and do the most and be as consistent as possible, so you can get there, so you can achieve said goal and everything in between. Because when you do get there, you are then going to be developing all of the traits and discipline and consistency habits that you need to then maintain it. And along the way, your body is going to naturally get more healthy, better and better, therefore working for you rather than against you. Like, fun fact for you guys, in a fat loss journey, there's a reason why us fitness coaches are telling you guys, you need to be prioritizing building muscle. You need to prioritize your protein intake. You need to be doing these things in order to lose fat. It's not because it's just random and like we just want you to do it. No, the more muscle you build and the more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you are burning at rest. Your body is functioning at a more efficient rate to operate that it needs to operate. So when we are telling you that you need to be focusing on building muscle and eating your protein and all the other things, there's a reasoning in behind it. It's going to make your fat loss journey easier in the long run. So when you are within the beginning stages of your journey and you are having to build muscle and lose fat at the same time, it's going to require you to be as consistent as possible. It's going to require a little bit more discipline. There's going to be more times, often than not, that you almost do have to say no to that meal, no to that drink, this, that, whatever, having a little bit more mindfulness and balance in your life in order to get there. But then once you do, you've already built the habits and traits to achieve that body. So now maintaining it is a hell of a lot easier. And like I said before, your body is working for you now more efficiently. You have more muscle mass on your frame, you're healthier, you're in a better state. So now it's going to work for you rather than against you. So that doesn't give you the free pass to do whatever you want or anything along those lines. No, you are still gonna have to be consistent. You are still gonna have to be mindful. You are still gonna have to do all of these things, but you do have a little bit more leniency. Like the moment you start being an asshole, your results are gonna go down the drain. Like if you start eating like an asshole, skipping your training, skipping your cardio, all that fun stuff, well then yeah, like no matter where you're at within your journey, you're gonna fuck it up. You're gonna screw yourself over and you're not gonna be able to see the results that you wanna see. So when I do say that getting there is the hardest part, it's solely due to the fact that it's just gonna require a little bit more from you at the beginning. And when you first start out on anything, it's uncomfortable. It's gonna require you to step out of your comfort zone and do things that you never did before. A lot of us are not going to the gym on a frequent basis, if at all. A lot of us are not being mindful of what we are eating at all. A lot of us don't do any form of cardio, even walking. Like a lot of us are very stagnant. We sit around, we work a desk job, we go home, we watch Netflix, we sit on the couch, we do this, we do that. There's so many different things that are essentially holding you back from where you want to be. So let it be known that once again, it's not a free pass that once you get to where you want to go, that you get to let your foot off the gas pedal. No, that is not what one is saying. That's not what I am saying right now. But what I am saying is that you do have a little bit more leniency inside of everything that you are doing. You do get away with a little bit more because your body is absorbing more of the nutrients, because it has more to feed and fuel and everything in between. You're actively burning more calories at rest on a day-to-day basis. So when you do decide to have a lazier day and sit around and whatever, even when you're sitting around, you are still to an extent burning more calories than you would have if you were overweight, obese, out of shape, anything along those lines. So at the end of the day, guys, when it comes down to achieving your dream body, achieving that physical goal, whatever it may be, not only is it going to be beneficial for you physically, but it's also going to be beneficial for you mentally as well. Inside of the gym, you are building a lot more than just your body. You're working out more than just your arms, your chest, your glutes, your legs, all that shit. You are building this guy up here because inside of the gym, you are building discipline. You are building consistency. You are building delayed gratification, because if you are not having or doing those three things, you aren't going to achieve it. So you are automatically going to the number one place where it requires all three of those things to actually achieve the goal that you were trying to achieve. So furthermore, when you naturally develop these traits inside of your head and it just becomes accustomed to who you are then going to transfer these traits into your everyday life. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm a firm believer that the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. So let's be honest, if you're gonna half-ass your own physical health, what's to say you're not half-assing your job? What's to say you're not half-assing your relationship? What's to say you're not half-assing your life? It's honestly time for you guys to get it together. I know it may not be the most enjoyable thing for everybody, but that's the beauty in it. You can make it as fun and enjoyable as possible. You don't need to work out 5 days a week to get ripped, see your abs, do all that stuff. I would argue that 2 to 3 workouts, strength training workouts a week is gonna be more beneficial for you, alongside doing more physical activity to burn more calories, but you don't need to live inside of the gym to get jacked. You do need to build muscle, so it will require you to do a few workouts a week, yes, but then your cardio, you don't need to kill yourself on the Stairmaster, you don't need to abuse cardio and burn all these calories on the treadmill or on the bike or whatever. You can go outside for a walk. If you're into running, you can go outside for a nice light run. If you are into cycling outside, you can take the bike outside. You can go play with the kids at the soccer field. You can go for a hike with your wife. Like, the options are endless, but at the end of the day, if you want to be achieving these things, you need to be mindful of it all the time. And then furthermore, you need to understand, this is where the delayed gratification comes in, that it's going to take time. For a lot of us, we start our journey, we get 2 weeks in and we don't see any results or very little results, and we're like, it doesn't work, I'm just gonna go back to what I was doing before, and then we just throw in the towel. When you were literally right on the cusp of being able to see the results that you want to be seeing. This is why getting there is the hardest part. It's the most frustrating because there's the highs and lows of, is it working? Why is my weight plateauing? Why am I not getting any stronger? I feel like I'm not looking any different in the mirror. This is why it's important as well to track all of the things that you can, your steps, your food, your body weight, your workouts, progress photos, all these things, so you can show yourself that although you may think that these things aren't happening, they are. And then you battle through those times of like body dysmorphia or just overall low motivation, and you keep going. Once again, that's why it's so hard to get there, because it requires you to be uncomfortable. If you want to get there, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's the sole way of making it happen, because as you progress throughout your journey, you're gonna have to lift more weight, you're gonna have to try and do more reps, you're gonna have to switch up your food and learn more about nutrition, you're gonna have to do a little bit more physical activity, you're gonna have to do things in order to keep progressing. But then once you get there, you've learned all that, you've done the hard part, and now you just figure out what works with you and what you need to do to maintain it, and then you just do that. You don't need to do any extra. You don't need to push the limits. You don't need to do this. If that's what you want. A lot of us, we get in the zone, we get in the mix, we start seeing all this progress, and we don't stop. We always strive for more. We always strive to be better. And I love that. And then if that's the case, you just keep adding more. You just keep doing more. You just keep switching it up when need be. One thing I actually do want to mention about in my little rant right now is always switching it up. One common thing that I have found with a lot of the individuals that I've worked with and talked with on social media is everyone gets bored of their workout plan. Everyone gets bored of doing the same workouts. Everyone gets bored. And at the end of the day, respectfully, like, you need to find ways to make said thing a little bit more fun, because switching up your workouts every 2, 3, 4 weeks isn't allowing you to actually see the results that you want to be seeing. You need to be progressing within specific movements, getting stronger, moving more weight, doing more reps, perfecting your form, whatever the case may be. This is what's going to allow you to actually progress. So if you're switching things up and not giving your body enough time to adjust and actually make progress, well, you're gonna be slowing yourself down. You're gonna be throwing a wrench into everything. Now, this isn't me saying that you need to do the same 17 workouts every single week. No, but you need to find consistency within them. You need to pick a handful of them that you're like really focusing on. You want to progress within those to allow yourself to actually track your progression. So I know it sounds like a lot. I know it sounds crazy. And to a lot of us, it's overwhelming and we don't want to do it. And it's a headache and it's this, it's that, it's whatever. But to make things as simple as possible for you guys, at the end of the day, you don't need to do a crash diet. You don't need to live in the gym. You don't need to do endless cardio. You need to do what works for you, with you, within your lifestyle. Be consistent with it and work your ass off inside of those things. That's exactly what I'm teaching my clients. A lot of them, they aren't having to go over the top. They're not living in the gym. They're not doing endless cardio. They're not doing all these super extravagant things. Heck, I got a couple of clients who are working out maybe 3 days a week, doing a little bit of cardio and focusing on their daily activity, and they're down almost 50 pounds. I got a handful of them. I got Keon and I also got Keelan. Both of those guys are absolutely crushing it right now. They work out on average 3 to 4 days a week. They're not living in the gym. Their workouts are maybe 45, 60 minutes. They do minimal cardio. Their life isn't revolving around fitness. They are just doing what works with them consistently, and they are working their bag off. Because as both of them once said to me, they've started before and it was hard and they couldn't get there and they fell off track and they did this, they had this coach, they had that coach. So I made it simple for them. I said, we're gonna do what you wanna do and we're gonna work hard at it. We're gonna be consistent and we're gonna be consistent and we're gonna be consistent. And at the end of the day, they did that. Keon's down almost 50 pounds in 9 months, and Keelan's down 45 pounds since January. It's June, 6 months. Both these guys are absolutely killing it. They're killers. They're sharks. They're working their bag off. But they understood, like at the beginning stages when they first started working with me, they had to do a little bit more. They had to get uncomfortable. They had to do things that they maybe didn't want to do. But then when we started fast tracking the progress and things started happening, we were able to dial it back a little bit and do exactly what works with them, make their lifestyle and schedule a little bit easier to follow. And then furthermore, basically put everything on autopilot and let the body do its thing. And now they're sitting in a wicked position. Keelan's in the best shape of his life. Keon is in the best shape that he's been in almost 25 years. And these guys, dude, they're killing it, and they're not doing the most. They're actually doing like the bare minimum requirements, but doing it well, doing it efficiently, doing it effectively. And that's what's allowing them to get to where they want to go. So thank you for listening to today's Car Talk. I know I went on a little bit of a tangent. I know there was a lot of information going on there, and I know a lot of it was basically just my opinion on everything. But at the end of the day, a lot of us are struggling with the fact of getting there, because it does require you to be uncomfortable. It does require you to be the most consistent. It does require you to be the most disciplined, everything in between. So at the end of the day, a broken plan that you are able to do consistently and with your best effort is better than a perfect plan that you aren't doing consistently. So if you're only able to make it to the gym 2, 3, hopefully 4 days a week, do that. Make those workouts count. If you don't like doing post-workout cardio, then don't. Go for a bike ride. Go for a long walk. Get into running. Go swimming. Do something that's gonna burn more calories. Go for a hike with your wife. Take your kids to the playground. These are the things that are gonna burn more calories. And then furthermore, be as mindful of your nutrition as you possibly can. Make sure that you're prioritizing protein, eating in a calorie deficit, and eating whole foods to maintain proper gut health. And at the end of the day, guys, if all of this is still too hard to navigate, which rightfully so, I totally respect it, totally understand it. I've worked with over 500 individuals over the last 5 years and have helped them to get to exactly where they want to go, exact same way like Keon and Keelan have. So if you haven't already, go ahead, click the link in my bio, fill out the application, and I'll chat with you guys soon.